Are all of these being recorded? Sweet. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Novice to Ninja, Roadmap to Architect from a CTA Instructor. So my name is Steve Simpson, and I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for about 17 years. I became it's funny because I look at my life prior to being a CTA, which was in 17. You know, I had 2 certs and all these 10 plus years experience, and I said, I want to be a CTA. And I saw this presentation at Dreamforce where, Suzanne said, here's the pyramid. They had just invented the pyramid. And so I was actually one of the first CTAs to go through the pyramid, and I went from 2 certs in January to 20 certs in June. So I did 18 certs in 6 months, and I sat for my exam and I didn't pass because I had never met a CTA before. And then they said, you're so close, we just invented this thing called the 601. You're gonna be the first student in the 601. So I got into the 601 and I took the class and then I passed the test. We talk about these study groups that the Ladies Be Architect had. There was a gentleman named Gustavo. Gustavo and I started setting up these Zoom meetings and LinkedIns, and we quiz each other week by week. And then we were both in that same class and we both passed the same week. So then they said, hey, Steve, you were the first pyramider. How about if you come help assistant teach the 601? And within like a couple months, I was actually teaching the 601, and then I started judging in 18. So I'm a CTA instructor. I teach the 601. I'm also a judge. So those of you going for the test, I'm in the judge pool, the external judge pool. But what I really enjoy the most is Trailhead asked me to start teaching the system and app architect boot camps. So instead of trying to teach always to the top level people, like the crazies going for that crazy exam, I actually will stand in front of, I had taught at TDX, I stood in front of 80 people taking the integration architect. And I teach data arc, integration arc. I teach the sharing and security. In fact, on Monday, I got a sharing and security class I teach. I teach the whole spectrum of the pyramid, and I love teaching people on their journey more than just those the crazy ones going for the finale. So what I want to do is give you my journey, talk about what it takes for you to start on your journey. Let's just make sure I'm powered. So my most important thing is my wife. You know, you're talking about personal things. She's 6 times certified. We ran a business together, my twin boys. But then again, I love teaching. I'm the co-founder of Cactus Force, so another conference like this with Marisa. She's amazing, absolutely amazing, and we're gearing up for ours. And then we have Phoenix Architect Group. I used to own a martial arts studio. I could teach 50 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. I can teach 80, integration architects. If I could handle, that horde of kids that I'd have every week, a couple times a week, I can handle the integration people. I also used to teach scuba diving. So you're here. You're a developer. You're an admin. You're like, what do I want to do? When do you go beyond what you just solving today's problems? And my point is, as soon as you start thinking about tomorrow, you're starting to think like an architect. You're starting to see things beyond the original requirements of what you're trying to deal with. So you're actually on that journey right then. You decide how far you need to go. Every journey doesn't have to end at CTA. It can just end one more step, giving you more knowledge. And I see the value of that. So I think anybody who wants to go more than what they're just doing, this is a great journey to be on. So what can you do? Well, you're in a job, you're an admin, you're a developer, and I don't even say configurator anymore because flows have gotten so powerful with loops and assignments and variables and error handling. I call it visual programming. And so there's no longer developers and developers and configurators. It's developers writing code, developers writing visually, and then you slip from configuration into flows to formulas to flows, and next thing you know, you're making call-outs. I've seen call-outs with flows. So the power of the platform is there's no line. I'm not on this side or this side. You decide how far up you want to grow and do more advanced technologies. So when you're in a job, ask for more responsibilities. I had a guy who came to Midwest Streaming, and he's like, I'm in the Air Force, and I'm about to retire. These Salesforce projects report to me, but how am I going to learn more about them? I said, have them all do a project review and tell you their solution. Have them give you their review, and you can ask some stupid questions, and they'll think you're quizzing them because you're the boss. And I said, you could just ask, what's your data model? What's your security? I think you could just quiz every team that reports to you and ask them like any question you want, and they'll think you're testing them. And so he's like, that's great. And he just sent me a LinkedIn. This is like months ago. And he's like, I'm getting ready to retire. It's been great. And he's like, I've learned so much the last few months because of your advice. So join in project reviews. Look for opportunities to shadow. And then look around that org yourself. Have anybody been in an org and like examined the other flows, examined the other code? I mean, it's all right there for you to look at and learn. So if you're in your org, just like grab your IDE and just bring in all metadata and start poking around. I learn on every org I touch. I just start absorbing and seeing cool oh, they're doing that. Look at this. So you can learn, and then learn how to shadow other people, see what they're doing. Look around your org, and then look for the diagrams and the documents. Start to read them, start to learn them. So this is what you can do in place without having to do anything more. Just see around you, learn and grow. Then become a builder. And I'm not saying a coder, I'm not saying a configurator, I'm saying being a builder. Know the objects, the fields, the lightning page layouts, the flows and more flows. Experience, whatever the name is, Experience Community Portal, some of them still exist. Portal, the portal still, the sites, everything. You're coding, you're either LWC, triggers, batch process, web services, or as I said, the visual development. Become a good builder. Decide how far on the spectrum you want to be. Just if you're like building a house, you may save the electrical for somebody else. Bring in the Apex electrical programmers, they could do that. But I'm gonna do plumbing, I'm gonna do framing, I'm gonna know how to put on the roof, I'll do the irrigation, but I'm gonna save that because I don't want to burn my headspace on that. So you can bring in specialists. So become a good builder. Be good at what you do. Love what you do. That is the first step, I think, to going to be an architect, is loving it. Choose your goal. Martial arts, a lot of martial art themes. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And then I saw somebody at Florida Dreaming had a big thing. If yesterday was the best time to start, then right now is the second best time to start. And it was a really neat quote. So if there's something you've been meaning to do and you never got around to it, then now is the best time to start it. So choose your journey and just take that first step. So, what does it mean to be an architect? You're building for today, and we always drive what are the requirements. Gather the key requirements, know when to push back unnecessary, know your options and alternatives. We were just in your workshop sessions on the CTA scenario. Do I choose a survey? Do I build it myself? Do I bring in this? Know your choices and be able to weigh those choices that you're going to make, and know the trade-offs. Then there's implied. Somebody says, build me a building. You build in the frame, and then you walk away, and then they say, oh, it wasn't earthquake-proof. Well, you're the architect. You should have known about error handling, exception handling, try-catch, logging. They just assume you build that stuff. So start to build in the things that are assumed. They're going to assume a professional is just, they don't say explicitly. Plan for tomorrow. It's like I have this Steve's number of zero. So I'm giving away a bunch of YouTube talks. I just like throw these things out on YouTube and I explain a lot of my classes. And I have one called Steve's number of zeros. And it's like if somebody says I have an integration, they can't tell you how many TPS, transactions per second. So I start breaking down into how many orders change, how many order items, what's the number of bytes, and then eventually you can get to your TPS calculations for any integration. So the point is, know your data growth. Somebody says, how many number of accounts do you have? And they can't, I don't know, 10, 100, 10 million, 10 billion. They finally tell me a number of zeros. And then I can go from there. So you're gonna have 100,000 accounts. How many opportunities are gonna close? 2 per month, 100,000, so 2 per month, 24. So now I'm at 2.4 million, but I have 10 line items per opportunity. So now I'm at 20 million, 24 million. So in a matter of moments, I have calculated 24 million opportunity line items that will be created in year one. Assume a 30% linear growth on opportunity year over year, and then project that for a 7-year data retention, and now you're at 70 million records. And so I see that in first call. I'm talking to a client. How many accounts? How many opportunities a month? How many line items? And how long do you need to keep your data? Boom, I'm already seeing large data volumes. So my brain is already processing that. So you got to see increasing business, points of failure, error handling, system monitoring. This is where you go as an architect. So, and you could be doing this today before you even get your formalized training. Now then you say, I want to go further. So you're going to make your plan. App builder, platform dev 1 and 2. You say, hey, I want to do data sharing, app architect, B2B, B2C. You pick. Don't say all of them. You can get to all of them. There we go. Did we lose this?
Is it plugged in okay?
It's plugged in okay. It's, excuse me? Excuse me?
Press click share.
Your little dongly thing. So while he, what do you think it is? Okay, all right. So pick your journey and decide where you want to go with it. Pick, and choose, my theme is pick one at a time. There we go, just, yeah, back it up. So pick one. Study for one test at a time and then go for the next. But you want to kind of pick your direction. So you might say, first, become a great builder, app builder. Decide how technical you want to be. App builder, platform dev 1, platform dev 2, complex logic. Not everyone needs to go there. JavaScript developer UI. So a lot of people will draw the line between app builder, platform dev, and platform dev 1 and dev 2. You don't need dev 2 and JavaScript to be an architect. It's just a matter of how deep you want to go. So draw your line here. No hard coding. Have elegant designs, beautiful data model. Have your code evolve and grow. Start to learn the web components, become an artist of your diagrams, an artist of the software. So become a great builder. That's the first thing I'm going to say. 2, learn the clouds. All of these are in core. Sales, CPQ, service, these are all in core. Marketing cloud's not in core. They say, oh yeah, Einstein 1, it will be, but when you ask them, are you really moving marketing cloud onto core? Well, maybe. You know, that's a nebulous thing. So right now, these are core. These get S objects, LWCs, flows. They all coexist together. Same memory, same processing. But then you got Pardot, or product formerly known as Pardot, now Marketing Cloud. These are integrations. These live and breathe together. Learn the capabilities. What is Sales Cloud? Where is the lead go to an opportunity? Do opportunities go to orders? Not automatically. So know when you feed the CPQ, move to orders. When do you go to an ERP? No Service Cloud. How does an issue? Self-service. So know these cloud capabilities really well. Then look for quick wins. Determine which domains you know the best. Personal experience, professional. Choose a goal. Choose a midpoint goal. I want app architect. That's usually a great one for people to go to. It's really just app builder, platform dev 1, data and sharing. Most people who are big admin, configurators, flows, they can tackle that without breaking too much of a sweat. Okay? Get hands-on. I have gone through and done I do a little Steve Tech Arc where I give stuff away. I have not had to pay a penny other than some AWS things. Everything is free on Salesforce. Dev orgs, this org, that org. You can spin just about everything up. So get in, follow the videos and trails. I suck up at whatever other people are saying, and then I say, what's new that I can add? And then I go and decide I'm going to do a new video. So most people go in for app architect, data architect, sharing, viz, and that's where they typically go first. And I love teaching this data arc because it's the object model, and it's teaching somebody the bones of an application. Platform selection, licenses, data model, data volume considerations, when it's on and off platform, when to connect. This is a great class for anybody that says new S object. They're creating a new object, adding fields. They need to know this, getting to LDV. And then we get a little techie. So first, for those of you who are like, oh, I don't want to be super technical, nothing is unknowable. Everything in Salesforce can be explained and broken down to parts that are totally knowable. Even the query optimizer. When I teach data arc, I talk about a librarian. People have heard about these rooms that had books. And you actually had these little cards called index cards. And you would decide when to go to the index. And then I even explain index selectivity. What does it mean to be a selective index? What does it mean to be within the selectivity threshold? And I have a whole lesson where I break it down. So nothing is outside the bounds of anyone's comprehension if they just take the time. So you knock out data. You figure you pass your index selectivity 30% of the first million, and then another 15% of the next. That's the hardest part of this class. It's just like 5 little formulas. That's it. That's the hardest part of this class, and I teach this class over and over. Now you're going to draw pretty pictures. Here's your object models, little crow's feet, on core, off core. There's a crazy one from from a real client I did. So you get pretty pictures. And there's the ones you can get. I used to poo-poo these. Like why is quote down here and this up here? And then I just decided to go knock out some certs in the last couple weeks. And they explained the UML, or the UPN structure, how they're trying to have every line being straight. And that's why they'll now reorient things. And now I can respect that more. So I used to be like, ugh, ugly. But now I can see the respect of it, because I went out to pass the strategy cert and the business analyst cert. So I go and I'm like, wow, now I understand. Next, security. Object access, relating objects, org-wide defaults, sharing. So I actually did a video about a couple years ago called Steve's 17 Ways to Share a Record. Well, now there is Steve's, where is it? Let me go here. I did another one, and window. There are now 20 ways to share a record. So it has gone up. There are new mechanisms. So this is some of my talks I did where I break into set 1, org-wide, grant using hierarchy, ownership, and I do examples of all these. Then you got 4, 5, and 6 criteria, guest-based rules, and then of course owner-based sharing. Don't forget the checkbox include records owned by high-volume users. That has a slight effect. And you get 50 guest and criteria. You get a 300 total. And then you go into manual teams and territories, ways 7, 8, and 9. And then you go up into permissions, programmatic, implicit. These are my little rhymes I made. View all, modify all, apex. Implicits, there's actually 4 different implicits, and you can test them. One of the other CTAs, I think, did a great video on this. It was like an hour video on the implicits. You could just spend an hour looking at the implicit shares. And then what we do I'm going too fast. Sharing sets, sharing groups, account relationship, data sharing rule, going on to external hierarchy and super user, and these. So each of these has an impact on visibility. So let me go back to our little licenses. So that is sharing. I mean, that's security. So that's step 2. I'm gonna pick up speed. Oh, that little crazy grid, hurts our heads, what users and what licenses. You don't have to memorize it. Know about 5 key things and you're good. Then you say, I'm going for SysArc. Woohoo, I got that extra, app architect. I'm crazy, I'm going for integration is the biggest lift. A lot of people will take a class for that or just study like crazy for it. So you're going to go and learn all the integrations, auth, data securities, integration layers, call-ins, call-outs. That's like your biggest lift. And so that one I'm breaking up and doing chunks at a time. That's going to take me a little while to get all of them. Now, you're going to draw pretty diagrams, like these are versioned web servers, these are non-versioned web servers. I have mapped out every way into Salesforce. This is every single way into Salesforce. It's either through the instance, through experience portals, through the public no authentication, through the web delete, through the web decase, through the SMTP, through the non-versioned API, SOAP and REST, and through the versioned APIs. Anybody know how many APIs there are? 86. I've mapped them all, and I'm working my way through them. If you talk about a different base URL, so some of them are all blended together, but if you talk about the / some name, there's 86 of them. And so you can find them through the API specs, hit the unversioned postman, and get to that. So that's also, I'm trying to map out in my videos, kind of go through each one. You're going to draw pretty system landscapes. What does an arrow mean? Is it data flow? Is it authentication mechanism? Is it client server? You're going to work out those kinds of deals. I know we're picking up. And then you're going to get your flows. People look at a flow and their head hurts. And then I say, no, it's, where are we? I say, it's like going to a beer garden. So I need to go to a beer garden and I want some beer. And they say, you don't have a wrist bracelet. So they send me to the auth server. So I have one of my videos. It's like why OAuth is like a beer garden. And then they give me an access token, and I represent my access token to the resource server, and I get my beer. And that's my commemorative mug from 1999 at Oktoberfest, because I actually lived in Munich. And then I say, web server flow explained as a beer garden. So I have a browser, and I want to go to the burger house. And the burger house wants to get me the beer. And so I go to there, and then they say, hey, go over to the kiosk. So they give me a redirect. I go to the Salesforce login, and I get a little token called an auth code. And then I come back, and then I give it back to the burger house. And then the burger house takes the token and exchanges it at the auth server. They're going to the auth server for me, and they exchange it for an access token, and they get a refresh token. So now they can get me my original beer with my burger order, and if I want to come back later and get more beer with my burgers, they don't have to send me to this anymore. They've got my refresh token. So really, it's all knowable. Even web server flow, which is the most intricate of all the server flows of OAuth, is totally knowable. So I did these videos, and this guy named Andrew Russo, he's one of the, not an MVP, but he's really serious. He's like, Steve, I'm going to watch your videos with no studying, and I'm going to take the test. So he's like, he pinged me, and he's like, I watched your videos, I took the test, and he passed. So I'm like, so if you want, go look. I'm just like, he succeeded. He was my crash test dummy, and he passed. So whatever, and then he's like, you missed this and this. And I'm like, but he's like, I knew that. I'm like, all right, I'm actually strategizing what more videos to do for them. So you can learn all this. There is nothing unknowable. It is all knowable. It can all be broken down into simple. We were the security TLS, mutual TLS. You can walk through at the smallest level and talk about it and build it up. Nothing is unknowable to any of you if you just take the time. Then you're going to go your whole DevOps pipeline, whether you're Capado, Gears, AutoRabbit, whatever it is, be able to explain, the deploys and the gets and the GitHubs. Put your brain on that, focus in on that. Recite to your family who will go insane what a dev branch and a release branch and what's a full this and a full push. And they'll be like, I don't want to, but it's all knowable. None of this is not knowable. And then you go, oh my gosh, I did it. And you have all that. So you can add your B2B, your B2C, but you decide, the big question is, do you really want to go on? Don't just, this is a great place for tons of people. They can get one, they can get the other. You don't have to go on. And I think there we go. All right, so there's a little bit of a lag. Is it frozen again? All right, where's my guy? All right, so first decide, hello? Can you kick-start the car again? Give it a push dump? It's like, I had a car I was working on when I was in high school, and its starter broke, and I couldn't afford a new one. I just always parked on a hill and bump-started the car. People always wondered why I was always on a hill, and I'm like pushing my own car. So every now and then you need to do it. All right, we gave the car a little nudge. We're all good to go. You got to decide if you want to be crazy, like go for this thing. So I'm assuming you guys are in the room, so maybe you're that kind of blend of, hey, I'm maybe that crazy. You need to be able to be fast thinking, fast solving, and have strong presentation skills. We like to say among the CTA community, think correct and think fast. So correct must come first. But then there are only 20 ways to share a record. And if you know all 20, there's not 21. There's 20. There used to be 17, now there's 20. There's only so many integration patterns. When I teach the integration class, I come in and I say, by the time we're done on day 3, you'll be sick of me saying the same thing over again. You will know all of the ways to push data in and out of Salesforce. They're like, oh my God, it's too much. And then by D3, you're right. You have repeated yourself 3 times. I know exactly. There are no other ways. There are only so many ways to do things. And if you learn them all, and you learn the benefits for each, you can make the right choices. Okay? So if you decide you want to go to, your mindset will change. You're going to need to know the full stack. You have to relearn everything again. I hate to say this, but how to use it to solve it. It's like when I did martial arts and I would have like a weapon, I would say, know your weapon, know its strengths, know its weaknesses, because you need to know, like, when can I use apex sharing? Where does apex sharing not work? Someone tell me where apex sharing goes out the window. Customer community high volume licenses. They don't work because there's no role, there's no share table. So You need to know that that apex sharing, or programmatic sharing it's now called, is one of the strongest mechanisms for complicated sharing use cases. But it's useless if your clients have customer community high volume licenses. So that weapon bounces off that shield. And then you've got to try a different weapon. You got these strange things called sharing sets. And then if sharing sets don't do it, what am I left with? Can't do apex because there's no share table. I got 100 million users in my customer community high volume. How do I do intricate visibility control of records? If sharing sets don't cut it, what am I left with? Somebody?
Virtualization. You can virtualize the access through custom components.
Lightning web components. That's all you got. So if you got customer community high volume and there's intricate user requirements, boom, now you're at custom code. That's all there is. And so you get to know that. So you're going to create a balanced solution. I know we have a few more in stock. Present and support to the executive team. Think correct, think fast. And now you're going for that MAC data and you say, yes, I'm crazy. Know everything. Know what is it, where it's used, how do I use it, what are my alternatives, what are its strengths, what are its weaknesses. We just went into that with Apex Sharing. It's a machine gun for sharing. I can make any share record I want, except it bounces off these certain types of user licenses. Know that across all the elements. Know those. How do I explain it to developers? How do I explain it to the business? When I taught martial arts, I'd have a front kick, and I'm like, how do I teach that to a 5-year-old? How do I teach that to a 50-year-old? How do I teach that to a white belt? How do I teach it to a black belt? Okay, jump spin 360 in the air, now do it. And so that's what I'm teaching these techniques. How do I teach them at different levels? All right. Then obtain all your certs, get hands-on, get on the community, have those great ladies be architects. I told you about, we would, just sit there and have Zoom meetings and bounce things around. You're going to drive your spouses significantly crazy as you repeat things and draw things. I burned through so many pads of paper doing my OAuth flows, and I'd write them, throw it away, and write it again, and throw it away, and write it again. Attend the groups, and then you get to the exam. So I am a judge, and I actively judge in the CTA program. And so I don't do as much mentoring because it was pretty much mentor or judge. So I'm one of the judges. So this is the exam. You got to solve, and I'm not going to give anything away. You're not getting to hear anything super secret. But what you are going to have to know, solve the scenario. It's like a Rubik's Cube. You got to be able to solve that scenario, present it with explanation, diagrams. We are now on Lucid, so be ready to draw electronically. No more pads of paper. You got to be able to do your diagram. Hey, so many diagrams are like, what did they scribble there? And the judges are like, what was written there? Now at least, now I can say, what did they mean by that? I can focus more on the what than what did they actually write. And then you're going to get to the Q&A, choices, missed requirements, unclear, and the judges will work together to try to guide this person through that experience, and then it ends up with a pass or it doesn't end up with a pass. So we want everyone to pass, but we also want to make sure that every person who gets a CTA has earned it. So everyone will be, the 3 judges, we even say to ourselves, would you hire them? Would you have them deliver work product without your supervision? That is what the 3 CTAs sometimes say among ourselves. Would you assign that person on your team to a module and never review it and let it go live sight unseen based on them? And if the answer is no, then should they be passing? And so we're very careful, okay? And so, are you prepared? Know it inside out, be able to build, handle conflicting requirements, optimal, suboptimal, we're purposely gonna challenge you, have a cohesive solution, draw your artifacts that convey complex information, present in front of a group. You don't have to be Toastmasters, but you do have to articulate everything. You can't just point at a diagram and say, there. If it didn't come out of your mouth, it didn't count. You got to at least go around. You can't just give me like the perfect object model and say, here's my object model. I want you to tell me about the custom objects, the master detail. Tell me about it. So that's what we do as the judges. And we're like working hard. In the old school days, they would have we would have scenarios, and the judges would never see the scenario before. So when someone came to take the test, you know what the judges were doing at the same time? We were solving the same scenario. So actually judging can be hard because you're like, I haven't seen this scenario. So for the first like hour, we're solving the scenario while the candidate is. And then we'll like talk things through. So it's not easy being a judge, and then we're scrambling like crazy. I have 3 monitors, different things going on. I won't say what they are, but I am just like notes and this and chat and this. You know, it is hard to judge. It is very hard. But we work very hard to make sure it's a consistent experience and a consistent bar for every future candidate. Okay? And then from here, I just wanted to share, if you want, then when you do get it, woohoo, great job. It's absolutely life-changing when you do become one. And then if you want to find some of the things that I'm out there for, again, I am not doing this for any other reason but to give things away. Let me see where my website, just one second. So, here we go. So first, if you are interested and on the journey, go check out my YouTube. I made a crazy challenge. I do about 10 to 20-minute videos, and I said to myself, I'm going to start making a video every day of the week, till I get to 100. So I'm at 62. So, and yes, I pre-shot this week's, and I release them everywhere. And I started like the Data Cloud Diaries. Once I thought Data Cloud, and I'm walking through the whole ingestion and calculated insights and everything else, and I'm going to go take some of the AI stuff they did. But the point is, I'm just out there just sharing stuff out there. And then for those that like blogs, I actually have a website, and I'm taking all my videos and converting them to blogs with the screenshots and everything else like that. So I'm not selling anything. I'm not going to monetize this. They're just out there to contribute to the community. So if you want to go see if they're any good, see if you're not going to get sick of my voice, and my diagrams, all I'm doing is they're out there for anybody who wants them. No sales cycle, but I think it will help. I'm like, talking about my, security spectacular data architect. I think the fun one, when I got like this whole integration extravaganza, I come up with these fun names, and then the next one was, where we go, identity and access. This is pretty much like all the OAuth flows all laid out with the beer garden examples and everything else like that. And of course now I'm doing my Data Cloud Diaries and everything else. So what I'm saying is when you become a CTA, you give back. You've seen how everyone gives back. You don't care who someone works for. You don't care, you help everyone on the journey. And that's kind of what we all do. We all looking for our way to make the world a little better. And so, so help someone else on the journey, mentor them, share with them, go start something. If you don't see something out there, do what Gemma did, do what the other amazing people have done. Just create it and just start changing the world. So I'll stop here. Any questions? Yes, you had a question.
All of this content, do you do it yourself alone?
Yeah, oh, I sit there with my, what's that?
There's so much content for free, or you do it yourself?
Yeah, my wife curates the website once I do the videos, but I run I do the diagrams, I'll hit the videos, shoot them, edit them, and post them, and then she's like keeping the website. But yeah, I'm a one-man band.
Wow, I find it hard to stand up sometimes, but you do a video every day.
Every day. I'm on 50, I think like 60 is where I'm at right now. And I've calculated it'll take me till mid-January to hit my goal. And then maybe I'll go to like every couple days. So just subscribe. And if they're good, use them. And then if you want my diagrams, I'm going to do my blogs and post the diagrams. Yes?
Are you perfectionist?
Am I what?
Are you perfectionist?
I don't wait, or perfection can be the enemy of getting something done. So get that 80, 90% there. But you should see my code. My code is perfectly lined up. I'm like an artist with code. So is that what you're asking, perfectionist? I can be. I get pretty anal on my code. So my code is especially beautiful.
So when this is good or bad?
Is what good?
To be perfectionist.
You got to know when to dial it back, or you'll never be able to. I can't be a perfectionist and deliver a video every day. So sometimes good enough. So that has taught me to not be a perfectionist. Is good enough, even if I stutter halfway through, something goes wrong, just keep it going. I don't have time to sit and edit a video 5 times and then reprocess. So most of my videos are actually shot end to end, unedited, like pause, 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 keep going, pause, because I don't have time to do editing. But what I'll do is like an hour every day, I'll like say, what's my next idea? I'll like create 2 orgs, I did single sign-on between a hub and spoke org, set it all up. So I'll spend like 2 hours trying an idea, and then I go and hit, throw a diagram up, and then hit camera on, and then I'll explain it. So probably half my videos have demos, and it's making me better than I've ever been before because I'm doing everything. I'm one of the ramping instructors for Data Cloud. So I have access to the Data Cloud orgs, and I'm going to become one of the instructors to teach it. So I got a Data Cloud org, and I'm sitting there trying everything. I have APIs for reading airplanes in flight. You can get them, and all the airports in the world, and I'm combining them in Data Cloud and running analysis, and I'll be doing videos on that. So just crazy things just to try it out. What can it do? And so that's what I get to do, to try to then share an idea with all of you. So I love it. It's a blast. So all I would like is try it out, and if you like it, subscribe. And if I get nothing. I'm not talking thousands of subscribers. I think I've got like 300. So this is not like this is to you. There aren't like 10 million of you out there. I am not trying to become a YouTuber. What I am doing is trying to share with all of you. I love when a class of mine, people come up to me later and they say, I passed the class. I passed the exam before because of you, or with your help, or with a little bit of your help. I had a guy come to me, yeah, there we go. You were in my integration class, right? Yeah, and did the class help?
Yeah, the class is very useful, and I failed once, but it was okay. And because integration architects was very difficult for me, because of my experience and so on, but it was so helpful, all the examples you're taking your course and so on, and you're also a great teacher, so thank you.
And all I want out of that is to hear that somebody was helped. I want nothing more than to know that there are people out there. I love to teach. My wife's like, you were meant to be a teacher, and I finally, can't make I decided not to do martial arts. I love tech, and now I teach Salesforce. That's my favorite thing in the world to do, is to teach a class and get those aha moments, and then those people come to me and say, I passed because of your help. That is why I do what I do. So, and I'm here to just give it away. So I hope that helps. Go be architects. And you are architects now, even though you don't need the certs. You are architects now. Don't say, I got to have a cert to be an architect. The moment you look to tomorrow, you're an architect. Just how much you get better and better. Take care.